SteamVR is now making VR easier by helping out the bindings of controllers. In fact, in their 1.26 update, Valve is going one step further with the new automatic binding feature, which automatically generates a new button binding profile. This configures it based on a more common controller like an index or a touch and sets it to simulate that controller type. The main idea is you won't be able to go worry about anything in menus or any types of bugs if something like your Windows mixed reality controller isn't officially supported. All in all, in totality, this makes it easier to play any VR game using any type of motion controller thanks to automatic controller binding. Now, there is some downfalls to this. If a dev decides to create a native controller, like say just for any type of VR headset that you do have right now currently, if they're just only making it specifically for that virtual reality headset, well then you would have to be able to switch into that automatically. Like SteamVR is going to be like, nope, this is only made for this. So it actually does do that in the update, which is pretty cool. This actually puts some pressure on Valve to continuously update its compatibility layer to include new controller types down the road. They say that while native support and explicit bindings will always give the greatest control, having this compatibility layer will smooth releases and lighten the load on the developers and control manufacturers alike. So kind of like an overall universal idea. Controller drive developers can get more information on just rebuilding files and doing more on their actual documentation page. There's actually a full update that shows everything breaking down. Now, this would be awesome. I wonder if it does kind of come along to, if you actually go air linked with a quest, dive into what SteamVR is and try to control, like if you have different controllers, just using different controllers on a different VR headset would always be a cool thing. Has a dashboard recenter button that now recenters both seated and standing universes instead of just the current universe of the scene application, which is really good. New tracker roles, wrists left, right, and your ankle left and right. The bindings UI style has been refreshed. It also gives us updates and errors when any required actions haven't been bound. And a handle has been added to the dashboard, allowing it to be positioned in space. The position is reset whenever it is summoned. And on top of all, it says added automatic rebinding controllers without native binding. So for SteamVR input and OpenXR games, they will attempt to rebind to a supported controller type, which is what I said earlier, that if it's just a native thing a developer has done, you can just get that already. Now, SteamVR doing these updates does help us a lot for virtual reality, especially casual VR users. Again, virtual reality is very complicated, so be able to try to make a universal approach to how you can control your actual controllers and connect it into your VR headset. That helps out a lot. SteamVR still has a long way to go. SteamVR and actually Oculus Air Link, or just Link if you're just linking. These two have just made it so complicated at times, and especially in recent times, to utilize virtual reality unless you have put yourself and studied and researched what virtual reality is. Learning how, one thing that you can really start with is their streaming. Like, it's so hard to really stream in virtual reality, like reading chat. They have different options. Steam has their own inbound type chat where you can pin the log, and just a very sloppy process though. I just did it recently and it just wasn't really fun. Then you could also do the OVR toolkit, which is also another route, but streaming virtual reality is very sloppy, and I hope SteamVR gets better at that, because the main objective is not just continuously, although we love virtual reality, SteamVR and Oculus obviously, or now Meta Quest, and although they call it Oculus casting when you Oculus link your Quest 2, but it's Meta Quest 2. When we use these and get into a PC, which now becomes PC VR, which is now actual the top notch, the top tier of virtual reality, it tends to get very sloppy when we're trying to project it to an audience. Audiences already can't really see what we're doing as far as immersion wise, because they only see flat screen regardless. For systems to still be buggy, like lives are still not as great as they should be. The friction it takes in order to do all of this, it takes a lot of time, including myself, where I just don't really enjoy jumping into live streaming every time, because it takes so long with so little return at times that it's just not worth it in terms of immediacy, which is why people are still gonna like not really enjoy. Although SteamVR is doing this to help a universal approach, this is for a lot of people with PC VR. Performance is still gonna be kind of sloppy at times, but anything we can do to make virtual reality universal, simplified, ease of use, and immediate, then I believe we'll be able to finally graduate. But as of now, VR just tends to be complicating, which is why AR and mixed reality are gonna be a lot more at the forefront versus just jumping into full virtual reality, and at least the near future from time to come. Y'all gotta let me know what's up though. SteamVR is still doing this, making it universal, makes it a huge W, but we need more. So hopefully they're listening out, and we need a lot more updates. Help us out in making an easier process for virtual reality, especially projecting virtual reality to audiences and trying to share exactly what it is so we can convince them, man. Appreciate y'all so much. Y'all have a good one. Peace.